Alright, here's my answer key for the quiz rewrite. There you go. Number 1, draw Bohr diagrams of an atom and an ion of magnesium. Magnesium, I look on my periodic table, it is element number 12, so it's going to have 12 protons. It has an atomic mass of 24.3, take away 12. It also has 12 neutrons. It's going to have the first shell full, 2 atoms, 2 electrons. That leaves me with 10 more to draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a total of 10 electrons. I got 2 more to draw. They won't be paired. They only start pairing up after 4. I'll put 1 there, and I'll put 1 there. You could have put those 2 anywhere as long as they weren't paired together. All right. If I was marking this, I would probably give you 1 mark for the nucleus, 1 mark for the 2 inner shells, and 1 mark for having 2 electrons in the outer shell. Something like that. Also wants an ion of magnesium. Now the ion is going to be a little easier. It's going to try to become like the closest noble gas, which means in this case it's going to end up losing 2 electrons. We're still going to have 12 protons. We're still going to have 12 neutrons. We're still going to have an inner shell with 2. We're still going to have a second shell of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But the 2 more that are on the outer shell, those electrons have been given to some other element. To show that it's an ion, we go square brackets, and we write down the valence charge. 2 plus. Mark it the same way. 1 mark for the nucleus, 1 mark for the 1 inner shell, and 1 mark for the outer shell. If you forgot the square brackets, half mark off. If you forgot the 2 plus, the charge, half mark off. Lewis diagrams, way nicer, of an atom and an ion of oxygen. They're both going to start out like this. All I care about is the outer shell. Oxygen has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons in its outer shell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I need to pair up 2 more. How about 5, 6? That's the Lewis diagram of an atom of oxygen. I would go 1 mark for the element, 1 mark for the dots. What about the ion? It's going to end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons in its outer shell because it wants a full outer shell. And to show that it's an ion, it's now 2 negative. Same deal. 1 mark for the element, 1 mark for the outer shell, half mark off if you forgot the square brackets, half mark off if you forgot the 2 negative. Draw a Bohr diagram of lithium oxide. This is an ionic bond. How do I know? It starts with a metal. There's 2 lithiums, 1 oxygen, so I'm going to draw the oxygen ion first. There is going to be, oxygen has 8 protons and 8 neutrons. It has an inner shell with 2, and it has an outer shell which normally has 8, but it's picked up extra electrons, so it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'll show that this is the ion oxygen. Excuse me. Lithium. One here, one here. Lithium is element number 3, so it has 3 protons, 4 neutrons. 3 protons, 4 neutrons. It's got an inner shell with 2 paired electrons. And then normally in its outer shell it has 1 electron, but it's given 1 electron to oxygen. That's why oxygen has 2 extras, because each lithium gave 1 electron. So I just need to close this off, show that it's an ion, and it's a positive 1 ion, and you will notice the charges are balanced as well. How would I mark this? I would probably go something like this. Since there's 3 ions, 3 marks for each ion. 1 mark for the nucleus, 1 mark for the electrons, and then 1 mark for the square brackets and the charge. So a half mark off if you're missing the charge, half mark off if you're missing the square brackets. Number 4, although they told me this was a covalent, I would have known it anyways because sulfur is not a metal. This is a Lewis diagram, going to be a little bit easier. There's 1 sulfur, 2 chlorines. I'm going to draw sulfur in the middle. There's sulfur. There's chlorine number 1. There's chlorine number 2. Sulfur has 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I looking at the right one? No, I'm not. It has 6. Looking at silicon. Sulfur has 6. Chlorine has 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now what's going to happen is chlorine and sulfur are going to share a bond. They're going to do that, and the symbol that we use is a horizontal line to show that's a double bond. We use a horizontal line to show that it's a double bond. I probably technically, if we're really, really fussy, shouldn't have drawn in those electrons. I tend to draw them in and then cover over them with the line because I find it easier to keep track. But technically it should look like that. 3 marks. 1 mark for drawing sulfur correct. 1 mark for drawing chlorine correct, and then 1 mark for getting the double bonds. Come on, pen. Correct. And that means that this question is out of 3. This question is out of 9. This question is out of 4, 2 for each of them. This question is out of 6, 2 for each of them. And that gives you a total score of 22 out of 22. Mark this, and then you can either email me your score or you can turn your new and improved quiz in. Do me a favor, if you're doing a rewrite, at the top right here, can you write the word rewrite? That'll keep it easier for me to keep track of your grades.